Robocop on 4K. The remake is what we're talking about today. So I did do my review for Robocop 2, and now I'm doing the remake. I still think it's really shitty of Scream Factory to not do Robocop 3 and instead do the remake. I'm sure they'll double back and go around to Robocop 3, as I think most people speculated that, but it just feels really weird. But let's talk about this release. Let's start with the movie itself. This movie came out in 2014, if I'm remembering right. Yep, 2014. And it was not very well received. And, it's kind of interesting because that was a good time for remakes. And let me explain why. Remakes were not trashed, and they would just go. Like, Robocop and Total Recall, gone. And now it feels like we're in a time where we just accept remakes, like, oh yeah, Tristers is back, this is back, whatever, and things like that. And I know some people argue, well, yeah, but Total Recall was bad, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yes, but it still stands that we're in a worse time for movies where, yeah, we were getting remakes just like we are now, but it's like it's less in your face and irritating like it is now. I don't know. It's just yeah. So I don't know, but this movie got trashed, and a lot of people have complained, and so this movie is now developed like a cult following. People being like, "Oh, it's underrated," it's overhated. And rewatching the movie, I'd say yes and no, because I've seen this movie once before, and first time I watched it, I'd say yeah, underrated. No, this time I disagree with that, but I also kind of agree with it. Because this movie has a lot going for it, right? Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, Samuel Jackson, Joel Kidman. They're all, like, it's got a great cast. It has some good sequences in it. The main problem with this movie is that the original Robocop is such a great movie, as it's satirizing policing and violence and all these things. It has a lot to say. This movie doesn't have any of those things to say. It's just a dumb action movie. Now, as a dumb action movie, it works, but it's really hard to go from even Robocop 2, which has more style and presentation than this movie does. Even Robocop 3 has more style and presentation than this movie. This movie is so bland in its direction and style and just how it looks and how it's put together. That, I mean, even look at this design for Robocop and compare that to this. This and this are just, no. And so there's parts of this movie I can enjoy, but I'm always going to have those images of what Robocop is in my head, because I'm such a big fan of the first movie and everything it has to offer, that it makes this movie so fucking bland and nothing to me, even if, like, there's qualities of the movie that I enjoy and can appreciate. So I'm not mad that I got the 4K. I'm actually glad, because I did want to complete the set. And I will say, if you really like this movie, this is a great release. So now let's get into this. So this 4K remaster is the best this movie has ever looked. It's got a new 4K remaster for the original digital intermediate presented in Dolby Vision. I don't believe the Blu-ray was presented in Dolby Vision, so all that stuff is there, and that's great. And this is this cover's nice. It's a 4K. It looks great. Got 2 discs in here, so on the Blu-ray disc you get you get Robocop reemerged from the 20th century. You got a 3-part documentary on the reimagining of Robocop, deleted scenes, and Omnicorp production announcement, and then theatrical trailers. That's a lot of special features. 3-part documentary about remaking this movie. It's pretty cool. So I think there's a lot on here. If you're a fan of this movie, it looks really good on 4K. To me, it doesn't look as good as the other Robocop movies on 4K, but that's just because older films look better on 4K. 4K is meant to help older films. It can help all films, right? Like, every movie should be on 4K if you ask me. For the most part, there's like some films like Blair Witch Project that, like, I guess you could guess. I guess you could kind of like wager, like, does it really need it? I guess you can make that argument, but I think most films, like 90% of films, would benefit from 4K, and that's just me. So, yeah, RoboCop the remake on 4K. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.